Okay, in the question paper, you'll notice there that the header tag, and I've got 4 articles here in the center, and on the left-hand side a navigation tag and a footer tag. And you'll notice when I change the screen size, I'm only wanting article tags to reposition. So what I chose to do is I chose to make the header tag, nav tag, and footer tag just part of a logical layout around the outside. So to show you in Excel, I've made it so this would be my header tag, this would be my nav area, sorry, that stands for area, not nav R, nav area, this would be my footer area, and this here would be my article area. So I'm creating this layout using tables. And now at the moment it will look like this until I change the sizes to the way I want it to look like this. Do you guys get that? So now all I've done is in my NetBeans, you'll check there, I created my document following the fact that I've told it what document type it is. I've given it my header, I've linked it to my style sheet. I gave my table a class main table. I gave my header cell a class of header cells so I can directly refer to it. I'm actually also going to create this a class of equal to R1, and I'll explain it now. So row 1, I can do the same for this, row 2, and so forth. So I'm giving each area that I might want to manipulate a class name so that I can change the details of it. So now all I want to do is my main table, I want my main table to have a width of, I can say their main table width full colon 100%, or I can make that 90%, whatever you want. I want to make this 95%. Do you guys follow with that? I'm going to make the height to also be 100%, let's say, semicolon. So that means my main table will take on those properties. I'm going to make my header cell have a border of black, and I'm going to make it a ridge, and I'm going to make it 4 pixels. I'm going to make my navigation cell, now my navigation cell is on the left, I'm going to make that have a width of 30, let's make it 25%, semicolon, and a height, sorry? Okay, thank you. Thank you guys, you do need to remind me about that, I appreciate it. And Timmy, you put up your hand for that question, you can just shout that out, because otherwise I know myself I'm silly enough to forget that. Okay, so height of 70%. With this being a height of 70%, I actually don't need to do that here. I would suggest in your rows you do the heights. So R1 would have a height of, let's say, 25%. Row 2 would have a height of, so you'll do the height on tables with regards to that. So I want to make this 65%. So 65% times plus 25% is how much? That's 100%, isn't it? No, it's not. It's 80%. No, it's 90. Okay, then I'll make R3 height of 10%. Fail. Okay, so now you see I'm referring to, by using classes, I'm designing the outer tables, and I can work with that. So now the article cell is where I'm going to contain my article. Now this one, I want it to be the rest of the width, so the width will be 100% minus 25% is what? 75. So we want this to be 75%. Yeah. Thank you, Shen. This should have a dot before it because it is a class. It's only when I'm referring directly to tags would I state that. So later when we work with articles, etc., yes, you're 100% right, we should do that. Now, inside my footer cell, I'll then be wanting it to have a, well, it's 100% width, because this thing takes up a whole lot anyway. But this would be my footer cell. So let's also give my nav cell a different border. Let's make this red. Let's make it a double. Let's make it also 4 pixels. Let's give it a background of blue. Okay, now I'm also going to do the same for my, I'm just going to give this also a background color. Let me just pause this video. Okay, so now background color, we'll make this red. I'm just making it so I can clearly see what's going on, so we can see what's happening here. My navigation cell, my article cell, I'm going to leave. I'm not going to make that have any background color. My header cell's got a background color. Oh, it doesn't. Look at that. What color should my background color be? Let's make that blue velvet. Violet, sorry.
So fancy.
Now, so fancy, yes. Now, if we go across and we view this now, we should have a one that looks more like it. Do you guys check this?
Yeah.
So we've got our C shape, and in the central area here that I'm moving my mouse on now is where we actually want the articles to go. And we're wanting to put articles in here, but each of our areas has content where we would want to put it, and our articles should go into the center. So let's try this. Let's see if this works. So I know now I'm going to be using, now we're actually referring to cells. We're referring to cells header, which we could specify how we would want that to be. We're referring to cells like article, which is where we want it to be. And right now we're actually mainly just referring to article tag. And we're wanting, let's say our article tags, we want to have a border of black. I want it to be a groove, and I want it to be thick. Okay, I'm making this up. And now here is where I can say I want the display to be a inline block, and I want it to float onto the left. I have no idea what I'm doing there, but as far as my understanding of it is, display is how it will move around, and if you make it a block, it means it can distinguish that. So I think we actually don't even need the float right now, but let's just try this and we'll see what we're doing. I'm going to make each of my article blocks have a width of 400 pixels by a height of 250 pixels. Let's just see how this goes. I have no idea what I'm doing, so we attempt it and we see what it looks like. We then work from there. So now in my article cells, I'm going to create, how many article tags do we need? 4. So I'm literally going to put there. Now you notice I'm coding this quite quickly because I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just putting them in there, and then I'm going to look at them. So I've added 4. Boom, 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 boom. 4 articles are created. I'm now going to take a look at what it looks like. So I'll go into, whoa, hello, never-ending loop. Don't open that. Okay. Now.
It's like us in math. We don't know what we're doing, but we'll try nonetheless.
Exactly. Try it. Okay. So there, my 4 tags go next to each other. They're quite small. Let's just check how they relate to each other now. If I do create, ooh, look at that. It does what I want it to, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've now got 3. My C's around there. If I make it smaller, boom, boom, yay! It's doing what I want. Do you guys check that? But now my article tags, we want to be bigger so we can fit more details in there. So obviously my width and height was completely incorrect. So I think the width can go up by double, and my height can probably also go up by double. So let's double it, and let's see what happens. If in doubt, double it. But no, that's not a proper saying. Don't do that. Okay, so let's try a width of 800 px, and let's try a height of 500 px. Let's take a look at how that looks for my articles. F5. Bam, that looks better, doesn't it? I think even my width can maybe even go up a little bit more, but that's also because I've got quite a high screen resolution, so maybe not. And yeah, that works. When I make it smaller, the header will be at the... Ooh, my header's gone pear-shaped. Uh-oh.
So it didn't literally.
So do it in
go
percentages. I think it's your pixels that are taking up the space.
Yeah, percentages works.
Yeah, percentages work better than pixels.
That's how I got mine to work well.
I do hear you that the articles should be, but remember, there's going to be contents inside the article. So we don't want to make this article change. We want to make it so that we can always know this is what our article is going to look like no matter what device it's displayed on. So I'm actually wanting the article's areas to be a static size. But perhaps what I should do is my header cell, or my row 1, shouldn't be a height 25%. I should call this bear with me on this. I just want to see how this works. Let's just take a look at how this happens. It's probably going to be very pear-shaped, but let's just see if that fixes this problem. Yeah. Okay, so now we've got a situation where it does look right there, and when I minimize it, it will display it downwards. Do you guys get that we've solved that part of this? Is I'm actually literally creating a table around the outside, and it will increment it down there. It's not quite 100% right because I'm not liking that when it's maximized, I still have to scroll up and down when I shouldn't have to do that. So potentially what I could do is I could look at making my height of my row 1 to be 200, and let's take a look at that. Okay, that's better. So now it works. My articles are here. I could mess around with my articles to have some padding. So I can sit there and I can create a padding between it. And I could say I want a padding of, I think that's a lot. And that should, well, hello. I think it's an outer padding or something along those lines. But you guys can mess around with that. There are things on side. There are notes on all these different layouts, etc. on there. But we've got the layout working. It's the way we want it. I'm happy with it. And inside here we can now put the contents. But remember, just to go back to this, to complete this, inside our header cell, we would want a header. Now remember, it's not just because of taking on the properties of the header tag, but it's also so that the search engines, etc., can identify it as that. My navigation cell, I'll then put the nav tag inside there. Inside my footer cell, I'll put my footer tag inside there. And here's where I can actually now, and I can modify, so I can say, for example, my header tag, I want it to have a text align of center. Okay, I'll slow down. Yeah. My text align tag is going to be center. My footer tag, I'll also want to maybe be center, so I can go there, footer, and I could then say text align, and I could say center. And then inside there, so let's follow up, let's finish the questions here. Create a style sheet called style.css, create a template that will look like the following. It then says, in the template, modify it to have cheese and pictures inside there and create it by your name. So I've done basically, I think I've done question 1 and 2 for you guys here. If you guys can now, I'm happy with it to be similar to mine or not similar to mine. You don't have to follow it exactly. But the idea is that I want it so that it would look like this, and when you change the width of it, that it would still have your footer, left tab, and right tab, but then the articles would just move around inside there. Do you guys check that? Yeah. That is what I'm wanting. You can manipulate it so that it changes heights, etc. And there are different ways of doing it, but this is what I'm wanting. Okay, guys, you may continue with the exercise. Goodbye.
Thanks, sir.